Hello, welcome back. This is part 2, Johnny Harris, Why the U.S. Military is Studying UFOs. I paused it at 13:59. I'm going back. We can just sit around, right, have a conversation, chit-chat, maybe have a vegetable tray while these 4 seconds go by, and then we can get busy with what we came here for. So, let's go. Have you heard about Debbie? Oh my goodness, Deborah, she's just a pig.
Scientists, military leaders, even some politicians are joining the crowd of true believers with the US Navy task force called in.
So by 2020, this is now like becoming a thing, and this is probably why you've heard about it recently. This task force was formed, and it represents the first time since 1969 that the US government has officially, or at least publicly, acknowledged the significance of studying UFOs.
There is something there, measurable by multiple instruments, and yet it seems to move in directions that are inconsistent with what we know of physics or science more broadly. And that to me poses questions of tremendous interest and as well as potential national security significance.
Okay, wait, pause. Just, yep, inconsistent with the laws of physics. Yep, very tantalizing. Let's just pause. We're talking about UFOs here, and I feel obligated to just check in and make sure we're all on the same page, okay? First, we know it is a fact that the US government has observed stuff in the air that they can't explain. The evidence that I've presented here is solid. Solid sources, solid reporting. If I had evidence like this for any other story that I'm doing, I'd be like, this is solid evidence. Let's put it in the story, okay? We know that is true. Oh, and it's not just the few events that I've mentioned here. According to this report, there's been 144 of these instances, either from the US military or government personnel. And 80 of these reports have been gathered from, quote, multiple sensors, meaning from multiple perspectives. Multiple perspectives are tools, which is like 1,000 times better than like one pilot just saw something and is remembering it. Even if said pilot is someone like Lieutenant Commander Alex Dietrich, who, when you read this profile from the Washington Post on her, seems to be a pragmatic, highly credible Navy pilot from one of the most specialized flight programs in the world.
I don't identify as a UFO person.
Like, these pilots don't have incentives to make this stuff up. And yet, the fact remains that their instruments for measuring and observing the world is the human eyes, brain, and long-term memory, which is a pretty faulty and inaccurate data collection tool. So when I see something like 80 of these sightings being collected from multiple sensors, it makes all the difference for me. Okay, so that's number one. The US government has seen this, they don't know what it is.
Yeah, you're not relying on, I mean, have you ever seen this? Well, it's not a study. It's a thing where, well, I think it is a study. They had a bunch of people sitting in like a classroom or, I don't remember. And they had, I don't even remember. How bad is that? I'm trying to tell you something, I don't remember. And they had like a person in the, like a teacher in the room. And somebody came running in, said, give me all your money, da-da-da, and then took off and ran. They then had like these police come in. The whole thing was fake. Had these police come in and talk to the people. What do you remember? What did you see? Give us a description. Everyone gave a different description. Not one, I mean, like, you might have had somebody who was like 70%, other people who were like 10. People's memory just stinks. And I think, in my opinion, it comes from like a stress of just a stressful situation. These people didn't know this is going to happen, and your juices just start flowing through your body. It's a, fight or flight kind of thing, and you're stuck in this situation. You don't know what's going to happen, and you're not sitting there. Yes, a scar right here. Yeah. A lot of times in those types of situations, people are avoiding eye contact. I'm not looking at you, man. You can't stab me. You can't shoot me. I don't even see you. You're not even here. A lot of that. So I don't remember how I got sidetracked on that. Oh yeah. I don't even remember how I got sidetracked on it. I'm talking about memory, and I already forgot. What an asshole.
And it's been collected well. Number two, the other thing we know is that they've taken it seriously. This is a concern for them. The US Department of Defense is funding an effort to investigate, study, and analyze what is happening here, which again is awesome. Funding research is the only way that we know anything about the world. It's so much better than hearing a few people riff on what they saw. Science and research is our best antidote to the faulty, story-driven human brain. And indeed, the task force has come to some pretty useful conclusions.
Since the release of that preliminary report, the UAP Task Force database has now grown to contain approximately 400 reports.
They went back and they looked at every one of these reports, analyzed all the data they could. And when you do that, you start to see these incidents come into perspective. Remember this video of the fast-moving round thing that the pilot was freaking out about? Turns out that the Pentagon analyzed this, knowing everything they know about where the jets were and what tools were being used to record this moment, and they calculated that this was actually just like an optical illusion. Like, this object actually isn't moving that fast. Only like 30 miles an hour. Or remember this video of the triangles in the sky, filmed off of that destroyer? It turns out that this was more just quirky optics.
We're now reasonably confident that these triangles correlate to unmanned aerial systems in the area. The triangular appearance is a result of light passing through the night vision goggles and then being recorded by an SLR camera.
These objects are probably foreign drones trying to spy on US military maneuvers. Yeah, they might not be triangle in shape, but like, that's still really useful information. We should know if there are foreign adversaries floating over our Navy destroyers. Or this video of a UFO-shaped object being chased by an F-18.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on my ASA.
What makes this video so weird is how the object is behaving. Unexpected ways, kind of turning and rotating.
Well, if there's, look at that thing. It's rotating.
Well, once again, with a little bit.
Quick question for you. Did you know you should have a healthy bowel movement?
Cool.
Well, once again, with a little bit of analysis, this weird movement is actually just another quirk of the image sensors that they use in the military on these specialized cameras that make objects look like they're moving in strange ways, when really, if you just saw it with your eye, it wouldn't be that weird. There's this guy, Mick West, who's probably the most passionate debunker of like anything weird going on here. He does a really compelling deep dive on an explanation for this. Why this object looks like it's moving so strangely. I mean, if you want to go into it, it's like another optical mixed with camera sensors mixed with gimbal equipment and rotating compensation mechanisms. Yeah, you get the point. But we still don't know what this object is, but at least we have more clarity on why it looks weird to us with our eyes when we're watching it on a video on the internet. The Pentagon recently came out and told the New York Times that most of this stuff is actually just foreign spies flying around spying on US military activities, or weather balloons or other airborne trash. And further specifying that a lot of the stuff that looks weird to us looks weird because it was recorded on gear that is classified and is built for a specific purpose that we don't have access to understanding, leading to some strange looking imagery.
Really convenient, Pentagon.
And yet another fact in all of this is that many of these videos have not been officially declared a foreign drone, and in fact remain unexplained. And that's after analysis. One of those unexplained sightings was this one from 2004, the one we started this video on, the Tic Tac incident. The report often cites lack of good data, and indeed, what we have here is not the best, but we still have 4 sets of eyeballs. We have an official Navy report gathering facts from that day. Technicians seeing this thing descend from 60,000 feet down to 50 feet in a matter of seconds, hovering stationary on the radar for a short amount of time, and then departing at high velocities, high turn rates. This video, which is kind of uninspiring and grainy and not very long, but still shows us something, with its infrared not capturing any heat signature, any means of propulsion, as this thing flies around at mind-boggling speeds. Since these pilots went public with their account, a handful more of Navy witnesses have come forward telling their stories of what they have seen. And again, I take this all with a giant grain of salt, especially when you see some of these accounts putting fuel on the fire in the form of crazy claims that I'm intentionally not going to go into them here because I consider them deeply outside of the realm of useful evidence. But yeah, if you're interested, you can easily go down the rabbit hole. This stuff is like clickbait for every human. If you do go down the rabbit hole on some of these other testimonies or witnesses, just be careful. This is powerful, intoxicating stuff. We all secretly want to believe that this isn't just like China spying on us. That's boring. Our brains are really good at filling in the gaps to construct a faulty narrative. Yes. Be careful. But yeah, yes. That aside, there's still no satisfying theories that I could find that explain the 2004 Tic Tac case. Could be Russia or Chinese secret drones, or even experimental aircraft that we ourselves have been developing. I mean, it's no secret that powerful countries spend a lot of time and resources trying to get a leg up militarily, trying to find the next big technological thing. Like, you can actually find patents from the US military that claim to revolutionize propulsion tech using like anti-gravity spacecraft, like really out there, wild, weird, theoretical tech that may or may not exist. Again, another rabbit hole I'm not going to go down. The 2004 Tic Tac case remains a mystery, and I have a feeling that it will be a mystery forever. We'll probably never know what this thing is. And that's because real answers only come when you have real inquiry with real tools to measure and analyze real data from the real world. People's eyes and brains and memories are about the worst thing you can count on. And yet, we can't ignore credible sources.
They were always out there. You know, they were out there when we took off, we'd see them, and then we go to land, they would still be out there.
Like every day?
Every day.
But that's not proof of anything. To me, if they're always out there, we should be able to come up with a way to study them. And the US government agrees.
This often limited amount of high quality data and reporting hampers our ability to draw firm conclusions about the nature or intent of UAP.
Step one in all this is going to be to decouple the study of UFOs, which is something we should totally do, from the quick conclusion that people jump to that we are being visited by aliens from a different star system. That is what created the stigma in the first place. That is why people are embarrassed to talk about this stuff. We need to decouple them. There are UFOs, we should study them and see what they actually are. But am I saying that these absolutely aren't alien spacecraft coming from other planets? No, I'm not saying that at all. I don't know. What I'm saying is that I haven't seen anything close to the burden of evidence required for me to believe that that's what these things are. What I have seen is evidence of weird, unidentified things flying around, behaving in ways that are potentially beyond our mainstream understanding of physics. I mean, potentially. So yes, I'm totally open to these things being aliens. I'm open to literally anything. My issue is that people see this and our brains automatically do the easy thing, which is to fill in the blanks. Suddenly, aliens are the explanation. My brain does it too. It scares me. It's not the right approach here. I mean, I'm aware that it literally is almost a statistical impossibility that we're the only intelligent life forms in this universe. Definitely not the case. So yeah, maybe they found a way to travel to our little speck of dust planet and they wanted to visit and look at us or something. I don't know. I'm totally open to it. But again, I have zero reason to believe that because there's no evidence that points to that as the explanation.
7, 6.
Lose weight eating our biggest.
Okay. I don't care. Shut up. All right, back to the video.
7, 6.
But then there's the flip side, the juicier part of this for me, which is, who's to say we aren't the awe-inspiring creatures ourselves? 100 years ago, most people were still riding around on horses. They would have looked at our modern world, all of this, and thought that certainly aliens had come to take over. Certainly some crazy magician had come and reshaped the entire planet. And that's exactly what happened. Crazy scientific breakthroughs happen all the time. I mean, just this year, the Nobel Prize in Physics went to a team of physicists laying the foundation for quantum communication, like real-time communication that essentially bypasses the classical laws of physics. What I'm trying to say here is we don't need to treat UFOs like religion. We don't need to believe. Instead of cobbling together the scant evidence that we have to fit some narrative that we want to believe, let's go out there and gather data and analyze it and build a body of knowledge about this. Let's poke at these phenomena and figure out what the hell is going on in our airspace. At the very least to keep us safe, but potentially so that we can discover something new, something that we can observe, measure, analyze, and learn from. Wait, don't go yet. They released the report. The Pentagon released the report like right before we published this video. Like we were waiting for them to release the report and then they didn't, so we filmed the video and I cut my hair and then they released the freaking report about the update, the 2022 Annual Report on Unidentified Aerial Phenomena. UAP, baby. We've gone through this, and the update is that they're actually studying this stuff. This report goes through and shows a Pentagon that is very interested in doing more to gather data on this, which is really great news. There have been 366 new reports of UAP. They think that over half of them are like airborne clutter or drones or balloon-like entities, but 171 of these reports remain totally unidentifiable. They don't know what they are. And they even mention that some of them continue to demonstrate, quote, unusual flight characteristics. They even say that they're talking to allies about this to try to get to the bottom of what these UAP are. So yeah, the report is out. I'll link it in the sources. It's a pretty good read if you're into this stuff. I want to tell you that next week's video is live right now. You can watch it right this second. It's over on Nebula. I publish all of my videos a week early, and it's over on Nebula.
We're gonna go ahead and end this here because he's just giving a plug. So what do you think? I want to believe. I listened to the Joe Rogan. The guy who said he worked at Area 51. Oh, wow. Names just slipped my mind. That was interesting. He had some things that were questionable and some things that were interesting. Man, now that name's going to bother me. I'm going to end the video, and then it's going to hit me, and I'm going to be like so pissed. Anyways, I gave the thumbs up on the other video when they said his name. So anyways, I'm going to end this here. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. And come back for more of this old titty show. That's my new channel name. Kris's Titty Show.